Hands down, the best investment I have ever made. All of the models are so crazy powerful. Not only am I discovering who I am, but earn back the investment 20 times. This stuff is not just Googleable. I feel like a force. This was exactly the push and clarity I needed. You fucking rock. So far, 8 clients, 24K. I feel so pumped and alive. And the clients, oh my God, they are better than dreams. This is happening. I can finally plan my business without feelings of lack or without feelings of unworthiness. I finally want to tell everybody about this. These have been real DMs that we have received since implementing inevitable success process with clients. If you have been wanting to sign up clients and create consistent income with ease from a very intuitive and aligned place, then this opportunity is for you. Get inside of the short but super juicy and laser focused group program where in 6 weeks you're going to have a guaranteed process to do just that: sign clients and create a consistent income. Imagine how your life will turn out if in only 6 weeks you learn a lifelong skill to market and price and receive the money for your offers. We kick off this 4th of February and you can save your spot now at themoneymindset.com/reach. That is themoneymindset.com/reach. Hello and welcome to Dear Lag, Let's Break Up, the podcast where we make money mindset work extra simple so that you, as a female entrepreneur, can easily increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business. Because together we are saying, Dear Lag, let's break up. So Phoebe, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. And I love the new name. How good. Break up with the lack. Perfect.
Yes. It's a slow change, but steady. You know what? Because we really need to break up with the lack, like at any level. So why not?
We do.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, Phoebe, of who you are, what you do, and why did you started to do that thing?
Okay. Oh my gosh. I do quite a few things. Probably like you. I'm sure everyone that you have on here has 100 things going on. So, um, overall, I am a self-love and best life coach. I'm a new author. I just published my book. I also own a CrossFit gym, which is my original business baby. And now I'm running programs for youngish women that are really stepping into like the really power years for them, when you're starting to really build a career, maybe thinking about buying a house, settling down, that sort of thing. But the women that refuse to let self doubt hold them back and refuse to live anywhere near average, they know that there's so much more to life and they really want to unlock that juicy cream of the crop 20% of their best lives at the very top. So that's who I really work with. And I guess it's kind of, over years, I've realized that this just is who I am, and that's how I've ended up here. I was a personal trainer for a long time, and I realized over time, like, actually, it's not necessarily the health and fitness that I care about. I just loved talking to people and really helping them build their confidence and how powerful they became when they built that confidence. And then, so as I went through gyms, I realized as well that, a gym environment often is not the best place to build confidence and can scare a lot of people. So I started my own gym and really wanted it to be just this beautiful place where everyone felt so welcome and could really find that balance between, I've always been like the balance queen. I really want people to like have a good time, which I know is going to support their health at the same time as like their health is going to support them have a good time long term. And then even through that, I just have kept going through these stepping stones of just always being that person people go to for advice. I've realized I'm like the most emotionally regulated human being I've ever met for some wacky reason. I just am. And so I've really always been able to be like such a good help for people when they're, in the midst of the chaos and they just, it's hard to see through your own feelings and that sort of thing. And I don't know why. I'm just really good at that. And so I've really leaned into that now and accepted that that's my power. And I try my best to share it.
Ah, I love that because everything like kind of goes hands in hands. Like you start with personal training, right? With the gym, because somehow, and this is talking from personal experience, we believe that the environment is going to bring that self-confidence, that going into the gym is just like, I'm going to become strong. And because I'm going to become stronger or fitter or healthier, whatever, then that means that you actually build your confidence. Well, that's the old thought, right? But in reality, like you are saying, it's like it has little to do with the gym and more to do with everything that goes inside of self-love and caring
Yeah.
and emotional regulating. I love that you mentioned that. That's something that we talk about here in the podcast a lot because emotional regulation with money, it's so necessary. I mean, it's like it's so necessary for every aspect of your life. But when it comes to money, because it's constantly triggering you, you have to learn how to be emotional regulator, right? So I love that you mentioned that, and we are going to talk about that a little bit later on the podcast. But I want to share with you guys how we met and why we are doing this podcast together because I do believe in the power of timing. We are both peer mentors for the Manifestation Babe with Catherine Sinkina. And when like I applied to be a peer mentor the round before, but I was moving countries and then I said, no, I cannot do this. And now this is the time that I get to be on the peer mentors. And they are such a lovely souls. And we are all in different parts of our journey, but all with the like kind of same vision right now, like same objective or same going through the same so to speak. But then with Phoebe, I'm like, she's a new mom. I want to be a new mom, right? She's doing all the things that I don't know how to do yet. And then for you, I don't know if has happened that sometimes you see somebody that is already doing what you do and you feel this connection. I want to talk about that because that I think has a lot to do with the best life Bible that I want you to talk about on how you really serve that putting in your head a vision and then seeing that people around you is kind of quote unquote getting that vision, but then because you're emotional regulator, right? You don't take it as a, oh, I don't have it, like I cannot have it, that is not enough for me, but you take it like, oh, like there is something showing up here, like now there is something that I can see how people do it so that I can do it too.
Yes, I love that. Like, that's such a powerful thing that I think, um, I've really leaned into the last few years. I used to think I was a bit of a creep because I would like watch what people were doing and I'd get so invested and so excited for them. And then I would be like, oh, well, like, you can't say that. Like, don't be weird. You don't know them very well. Like, don't say anything. And then, then I went through this little bit of a phase, especially when I was really focused on self-love things where I would notice sometimes I would like see someone and think they looked really beautiful that day or something like that, but I didn't know them very well and I wouldn't say it. And then I decided then I was like, everyone loves compliments. Like anytime you think that, the rule now is that you say it out loud. And now that's really stemmed into just everything. Like when I watch other people succeed and they're doing things that I haven't been able to do yet or I haven't figured out, or like maybe I'm seeing it for the first time and being like, wow, that's so cool, like that you can do it. That now I'm really seeing it as like celebrate the hell out of that because it's so exciting. And like you were saying, now it's in your realm of possibility. You've seen it, you're seeing people do it. Like that's so exciting. And it's such a powerful energy to be so excited about someone else, as opposed to, you know, it's so easy to eat up that energy that's like, oh, they've got it and I
Yeah.
don't have it, or they can do it, but I can't do it. So yeah, I
Yeah.
love
Oh,
that.
oh, love it.
Cheerleader
Okay.
energy.
Okay, talk to us about the best life Bible. What is it about, and why did you get to say, you know what, I'm gonna write this?
Okay, so the Best Life Bible, it is 10 non-negotiable actions for living a seriously good life is the tagline. So it's really a book of basically like the top 10 lessons that I feel you have to embody to really live your best life. That's going to like all these key ingredients that I think is going to unlock that level of happiness for you. And it's really accompanied by every chapter kind of comes with a couple of stories from my life, I guess, of how I got there or how I'm applying it now or when I was in those situations. And it really developed over time. Like I've always been, posting on my social media big stories and reflections and that sort of thing. And people are always, telling me this is really good. Like, thank you for sharing that. But heaps of people are always like, oh, when are you going to write a book? And originally it was like a joke, like, sure, I'll get old and one day I'll write a book. And then
Right.
as I started to kind of lean into the Best Life Bible kind of as a business, like I came up with sort of the business originally, and I was like, it was a real like purpose moment for me where I was like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like this makes so much sense to me that this business exists where I'm really just like above everything else. I'm just living my life and showing people how good it can be. And then I kind of, built programs and stuff off the back of that. But then the book, I was like, obviously that's going to be the book name. Like that's perfect. And then as I started to write it, I sort of, um, well, I decided to write it first because originally I was like, I should run programs and build my audience and that sort of thing. But for whatever reason, it just came to me like December last year. My brain was just like, you have to write the book now. And I was like,
Yeah.
to who? Like, who's paying attention? But like, my intuition was like, it's time. My higher self was like, it's time. And I was like, okay, I'll just start writing it. And then I didn't realize actually at the time that I was pregnant. And then it all like, such perfect timing. It was like the best way to spend my pregnancy was writing this book. There was no
Wow.
pressure of like releasing programs or anything like that. I was just focused on this thing. And then it really developed as I went. I was like, these are the things I want to tell people. And then as I went through the writing it, I was like, well, you really need to tell people like why you think that, like what's the story behind that. So it really became this very like, here's the lesson and then here's this part of my life. And I never intended to share so much of my life in it, but I realize
Yeah.
now how important that is and quite exciting too. I feel very like anyone around me, I'm like, I'm spilling the tea. You guys are going to know everything about me, all the things that I probably don't tell people.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? That when it comes to personal development, we are our own experiments, right? We are our own stories. It's just like you cannot take my lesson and taking me out of that lesson. And oh my God, you were pregnant while you were writing. What a perfect timing, Phoebe. It was like,
It was.
there
I
you
just spent
go.
9 months in bed, 9 months in bed on my laptop. Perfect.
Yes, that's, oh gosh. Well, listen, if you are in the midst to writing a book like I am, then take this as your sign that this is the time to do it. And I'm talking to myself here too. So it's like I'm looking at myself at the camera and saying, like, take the
It's
clue
time.
that this is this is the time to do so. It is coming. Then sometimes it's just like we put so many layers, and like you said, you had the time to focus on that, no programs at all, and your brain, you laid into your intuition as well. And I think you guys know I know limiting beliefs, like I smell limiting beliefs far away. And it is not only around money, but limiting belief is all around everything that you want to do. So now my perfect limiting belief that is very logical is like, well, I need to focus on the membership and on the programs, and I need to run this and I need to run that. And every time that I sit down and write some pages, I'm like, oh, this is great. But then the fear starts to, crabbing into the surface. I'm like, okay, let's focus on this. I need to prepare the landing page for this. I need to do X, Y, and Z. So it is beautiful that that you allow yourself to break through that, because it's really an example to how you actually live your best life, right? It's like one of
Yeah.
those 10 non-negotiables. So what are some of those 10 non-negotiables that people must really, really know?
I think self-love is always at the absolute bottom of it for me. Like if you don't love yourself, you can't believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, like you're just gonna hold back all of your juicy goodness, in everything. And I think it's so easy to think, self-love is selfish, or it's something that, it only affects you so you can get away with it and it'll be fine. But it doesn't, like if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to show up your best self for your family. You're not going to show up your best self at work. You're not going to be bold enough to like take risks. You're not going to be bold enough to put your ideas out there. And it's impossible to live your absolute best if you're holding back. So definitely self-love is up there. Some of my other favorites were um, purpose, finding your purpose, which I'm super passionate about. But I think it's, a lot less complicated than people make it. People want it to be that one single thing that is their whole life, and it's not. I really believe that it's who you are. So it's impossible for you to not have one because it's you. So I love digging into purpose. My other favorite, relationships. I have such a beautiful relationship. I haven't always had beautiful relationships. But it's so nice to like, I've just really narrowed down a few things that I think are so essential in relationships. Number one being that you actually like actively love on each other every day. So easy to get caught up in the grind and everything that we're doing and just kind of rush in and out of the house. And just that like 1 minute a day of having a cuddle, or I don't know, send each other a cute meme and a message or something like that every day that lets them know that you're thinking about them and dissipates any of the stress and hard stuff of the day. But of course, we've got like manifestation in there. We've got gratitude.
Yeah.
There's all different bits.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I'm going to ask you, and here we're going to get into the money story, because
Yeah.
funny enough is that all of those principles apply to money as well. Self-love with money, relationship with money, and really purpose with money. So how have you seen that all of these principles apply to you when it comes to money, if any, if you have any application for it?
I think I was saying, I put it in our peer mentor chat the other day that I had this little bit of a revelation about my money story. And so growing up, I have two families essentially. My mum and my dad split up. So on my mum's side, it was like absolute chaos. We were super broke, like food stamps, church donations, like the works the whole time. So I guess that, to me, that money story is like obvious, right? Like so many people have that one. We're broke, there's not enough, everything's lack. That's an obvious one. And then on the other side is my dad's side. And that side of my family was so, almost just want to say normal. Like everything was fine, everyone was good. We always had enough of the main things, but there was never any luxuries or, that sort of stuff was like, that would be nice. That's not for us. It's for like this whole different world of people that we don't know or understand. So
Right.
there was never any luxury stuff in my life. And so, really interestingly, I've found as I've grown up that I've got hardly any money story around luxury. The only money story is the one that I created for myself, which is that I love myself so much and I'm so deserving of everything, that luxuries are easy for me. Surprisingly, like I spend so much money on holidays if I just want something, big. That's like, it's so easy for me to talk to myself and say, you deserve that and that's easy and we should spend that money. And I have no like really triggery feelings around it. And surprisingly, I'll spend $50,000 on a holiday and not blink twice. And then I was saying to the girls in the program that sometimes I'll go to the supermarket and I'll spend $100 on groceries, which I've done every week for the last however many years. Like it doesn't matter how many times I do it. And I've had times where I like feel sick or I want to put things back. And I'm like, dude, you spent like $50,000 on a holiday 2 weeks ago. What are you worried about this $100 for? But it's so like it became so obvious to me that that's where the money story is. Like constantly when
Right.
we were young, the things we're worried about, the things we're talking about is like the groceries. We're always putting groceries back at the checkout. We're always like counting it up as we go. We're always deciding whether or not we really need this thing. There was never like wants. It was always absolute needs, and really, really fussy around basic stuff like food, buying yourself clothes. Oh my gosh, sometimes I spend so long putting things in my cart online or like looking at a $20 shirt in the store and I'm like, why are you so worried about this $20
Right. Right.
comparatively? And I think I almost had tricked myself for a few years because I was so easy on the luxury spending that I didn't recognize how much it was actually affecting me, all of these little things. And I would get
Right.
annoyed at myself and be like, why are you so worried about this? But now I can really see that that was such a repetitive concern when we were young, that that's still there, obviously. So we're working on that one. Really good to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and the thing is, so I want to address a little bit what it's happening, because if you that are watching or listening is having the same kind of thoughts and feelings, this is going to be very, very helpful for you as well. There are different parts of you that live within yourself. There are the parts that, when it comes to your money story, grow up with you, right? So that part looks more like mom or dad, or sometimes it's like a twin of mom and dad walking on the supermarket. And you just repeat by automatic pilot whatever they did, whatever the concerns of their was. Um, like everything is like a repetition of what it was back then. But you have said it, you have created a different money story that it's about deserving, it's about worthiness around luxury. So because you have created that $50,000, like, okay, let's go. But what has happened is that there are two different parts of you. Now, the bridge is, how can I get this part of me that it's still talking through mom and dad and what happened in my childhood to meet this other part of me that is really not worried about it? What are the lessons that I can share with that part of me that when it goes through the supermarket gets my nervous system activated, right? So it is super interesting to me, because this is what I do every single time with my clients. It's like talking to the different parts of them. It's like, Ale, but I don't understand why I have this behavior when I'm in at my childhood house, but when I come home, it's just like not everything is normal. Like I don't have to worry about it. That's exactly right,
Yeah.
because we are such a chameleons. Your brain does a perfect job to protect you. So if you go back home and the way of interaction at home, the way that is, gonna survive, quote unquote, survive at home is being that part of you taking the lead. That's what you're gonna do. You're not gonna show up with the other one. I don't show up with the other one. I'm like, and mind you guys that I do this every single day. Like I'm rewire my brain every single day, especially when it comes to money, because this is what I teach you. Like I have to experience first what I teach you, right? And when I go home back in Colombia, it's so triggering to me because I know that that part of Alejandra, it's just like it wants to people please. It wants to parents please. It wants to keep, the head down and say, okay, whatever, let's do this. Like, I don't know how to deal with this. Dad, take the lead, or mom, take the lead. But this other part of me, like, hell no. Like, what? Like, that's not how we do it here. So when I started my own process, I will invite, like, I would take 5 minutes at home, at my childhood home, in the bathroom or in my room, and I would say, okay, I understand that this part is getting activated. I need help from this other part of me because it's getting very difficult right now. And I will get back to myself and I will understand, I will regulate my nervous system. That's number one. And then I will say, okay, now we have it different. And I will start putting those boundaries. So one of them thing that comes to my mind right now is guys, it's so silly. Like the stories are so sometimes it's just I can admire how silly it can be. But one time my dad will always for our birthdays will give us like money to buy clothes. So my sisters and my birthday are in November, and my brothers are in January. So all of around December for Latinos, December is the month where you buy new clothes. Like you need a new clothes for what is it called? For Christmas, you need new clothes for New Year. So parents will buy you around that. So my dad would buy us on November new clothes for birthday and then December. And for my brothers, new clothes for December and then their birthday. That was the only moment that he would do that. Right? So back like 3 or 4 years ago, I went home for around that time. And my dad would go like, okay, here's the money so you can buy the clothes. I'm like, Dad, you know that you don't buy me clothes like 10 years ago. Like something like that. It's like, I don't need, but it made me feel like that little girl back then that had to depend on my parents buy me clothes, or my dad, I should say, buy me clothes at that specific moment to feel luxurious. And that was when I was like, whoa, there is a part of me that is still needs that love, that self love that you were talking about, to go back there and say, you don't need that to feel luxurious. You can feel that all the time, and then just let it go. If your dad wants to buy in that on those dates, it's his story. Like I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say
enjoy.
yes or no, right? But it's not mine. The problem was that it took me back to feeling I didn't have enough unless my dad was buying me clothes on those specific days so I could feel luxurious. I was like, what? It's happening here. So that's the level
Oh,
of awareness, right? That we have to have. And in your case, I wonder how many stories coming like from mom's house, dad house, you will have put together that it reactivates when it goes to shopping. Because this is two different sources, kind of sources of information, right? That gets activated with the shopping, and that your luxury self just lets go. That would be so interesting.
I know, it's so interesting. It was funny when you were saying, like, when you're at your parents' house and you maybe take 5 minutes in the bathroom and just sort of talk to yourself from that other part of yourself. That's literally me at the checkout being like, my higher self being like, "It's okay, like, we have lots of money in the bank, more money's coming, everything's gonna be fine, you deserve this, this is just food, this is just things that we need at home, everything's okay." I'm talking to myself like a little child and calming myself down over some, like, toothpaste and mandarins, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but but it is so powerful, those conversations that you can have with yourself, to just, bring those parts of yourself to the table and have that conversation and calm your own self down so that you
Absolutely.
can move forward with it.
Yeah. And the thing is, these conversations can happen and will happen. But if the feeling is recurring, there is another layer that we need to go deeper
Mm.
down, right? So it is a layer of a hurt. There is a wound there. And you guys saw that I did the money wounds, the circle to heal money wounds, because it is specifically for this. Like there's sometimes it doesn't matter how much you talk to yourself, you continue to come back to the same pattern. And the reason is because that emotion is activated. So instead of you just imagine that when you are upset because something went wrong, or you are upset because whatever, you are frustrated, right? And somebody tries to say, well, that's not too bad. Like, look at the brighter side. You just get fired up. Like, shut up. Like, like I'm feelings, right? So that really happens with these conversations when your emotion is activated. The other part rejects this dialogue that you are trying to get. So when and here we get into one of the layers of my method, the emotional layer, because we cannot rewire a brain that is emotionally activated. Coming back to what you said of being regulated emotionally, we cannot rewire an a story that is emotionally charged. What you have to do is to go back and heal that emotion and let that moment 100%, or not 100%, but 80% will be you in your from 0 to 7 or from 0 to 12, that little self, and let it understand what you couldn't understand back then and it hurt you, so it can calm down. And then when you're trying to do these dialogues, then you say, okay, oh, well, yeah, that is not too bad. Like the emotion is not there anymore. But the importance is that not everything is about just talking, it's also doing the work of healing, closing that wound, and then doing like rewiring. It's a work in progress, right? It's always a work in progress. It's always a work
Yeah.
in progress. So, how you see now that you're a business owner, your money story reflected in your business?
Oh, interesting. I think business is tricky. I think I've gone through so many phases of like such abundance and then other times of real scarcity. I mean, it was definitely a challenge going through. I think I felt really abundant in my business for a good few years because I was seeing, such good growth most of the time. There's always times that are tricky in business, but then when we went through COVID, I found that was really hard because of the repetition of the situation. Like in my state, we were locked down for a really long time and on and off for pretty much like 2 years. So it was sort of like I had this really good mindset at the start because I'd had years of it being, backed up by these good experiences. And then it was like COVID hit and things got hard and the scarcity was there, but I was kind of fighting it with that, the old abundance evidence. And then over time, it was like, it just kept being like this more scarce and more scarce situation that almost then it kind of got flipped around where it was like there was less evidence of how good things were and more evidence of like this shitty current situation that it started to get really, really hard. And that was like it's taken me a long time to work back through that and try and release that and release those fears and those feelings and get back into that abundance feeling around money in my businesses. Um, and it's still going, like you said, work in progress all the time.
Yeah, and oh man, you have touched a point with COVID. And I think many people don't realize how damaging COVID was in terms of mindset, because you continue, like, you wanted to push through it, right? But then external situations changing, and then the self-doubt went into the surface and was like, oh, so beyond everything that happened during COVID, for what I have analyzed is the damage on our mindset, because you couldn't just keep up with the positive vibes, right? The positive experience. It was that logical mind telling you it is not going to be okay, because
Yeah.
external things like the news were flooded with it is not gonna be okay, right? It is the same right now with the recession. And this is why, you guys, everything that I'm doing in this podcast for 2023 is showing you exactly how you need to take care of your mindset when this word recession comes around, because it is going to come. Countries are rolling out plans to take care of a recession, and it is a fearful state of being on the economy. So that is the most, like, important piece of awareness that we have to have, that the media is going to say, I don't know if you can make it. You're going to see the results that, let's be honest, we all have ups and downs, regardless of externalities, right? So, but now it's going to be a little bit more logical. And when you say the experience, the current experience during COVID for you, were overriding the past experience, it's so powerful, because it can be a metaphor for everything. Like, how many current experience are you letting to override what you know to be truth in the past?
Yeah.
So
And the other way, how you can go, what you know as the truth from your past, you can override with new information and new evidence and a better way of thinking. Yes.
I love that. It is like, wow. Huh? I think we got everything of what base life Bible is about in that phrase.
Yes, perfect.
It is really that. Like, regardless of your past experience, you either can override it with negative hard logic justification, or you can rewrite it with positive new experiences that you may be like, well, how can I do that if it's not happening? But we gave you the answer at the beginning of this podcast. We see other people how they do it. We analyze other people how they do it, and if they did it, you can do it. If I have somebody that is doing what I potentially want to do, I know that there is a possibility to do it.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
One
Phoebe. What?
one of the most powerful things for me to remember sometimes is like, I think it's so easy to be like, oh, is this working for me? Or, it's so like, unrealistic or illogical to think positive or whatever. But like, there is absolutely no power in just accepting the scarcity, accepting the negative. Like, it's not helpful. So if the worst case scenario is that you attempt to try to find the positives or attempt to change your mindset and you don't totally nail it all the time, like it's always going to be 100 times better than just assuming the worst and going, oh, well, the recession's here, like it's all over, too bad. That
Yeah.
guarantees that your result is going to be that. Whereas at least give yourself the opportunity to go the other way. I would always rather do the work and at least have a chance than just give in to the worst of it.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's it. Like, if you dare to go out there and have the chance to do it, you may fail at it, and never is failure, because you tried. At least you know what is not working and you tweak. But at least you were not in the same position. Can you imagine just being at the same room that you were born every single day of your entire life? It's going to be boring as hell. So that's how I see not doing something different, right? It's just being on the same room that you were born for the rest of your life. Like if you
Yeah.
cannot stand just like me that thought, then today you need to do something different. That's it.
Yes. I've seen a few sort of posts in our peer mentor group of MBA where people sometimes get caught up in the process and they say, it's not working. And I'm like, eventually it will work. But if the worst case scenario is that you release some of the painful stuff from your past, that you learn how to take on a bit more gratitude, that you have a better day today, like that's a way better situation than giving up, like always.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a great point. Because trauma is the thing that we are here to release, right? Trauma
Yeah.
is everything. And you have given me the content for the next episode. So, what a beautiful day to wrap up because the next episode, I'm going to talk about trauma of money and everything that came up to the surface for me and how it can help you. So, stay tuned. And before I let you go, I'm going to ask you to share with everybody how they can find you, how they can go and download and or have I think it's still on pre-sale, is it? Or just tell us about the Bible, how they can get their hands on the Bible and how they can contact you.
Sure. So they can find me on my website, phoebewarpole.com. I'm also very active on Instagram at Best Life Phoebe. And you can find on there, you'll be able to find the book, you'll be able to find links to buy it on Amazon, you can get it wherever you are in the world. And yeah, you can get on the wait list for my next program,
Yes.
all the
Oh,
juicy stuff.
thank you so much, Phoebe, for being here. And if you have not downloaded the 2023 step-by-step guide of money and money mindset steps that you would take on a recession, go into the description below and download it. I've done it everything for you. And of course, go and follow Phoebe, not only because the best Bible seems I'm gonna get it, Phoebe. Like I'm getting my hands on it right now. But also Phoebe has such a good vibe. Like every time that I get into your stories, I get just so pumped of energy. And I'm very, very grateful that I'm here on this and then MBA there you go. MBA peer mentors for me. With you and with every other person there. It has been such an eye-opening and beautiful place to be. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I've learnt so much. And yeah, our group is incredible. And you are incredible. Thank you for having me. It's the best.
Okay, but before I let you go, did you know that you have a space where your money mindset work is made extra simple so that you can increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business in such a simple and easy way? Go to themoneymindset.hub.com and choose your path and start making those changes easily and effortlessly. That is themoneymindset.hub.com. Ahora sí, Wealthy Soul, if you love this episode, don't forget to leave a review down below. It will help me to help more wealthy souls to transfer their money mindset.